NIO makes the news again, this time on TV. So last time it was on a Economic Times newspaper, and it was a very good piece on research and development, and also it was a very detailed piece dedicated to NIO. But not that many people read the newspaper. It was a pretty good piece. But this, NIO made the news again, but it was through a very unexpected way. And it is a very heartwarming story. I'm going to show you the clip. So the section on TV starts off with this. A car caught on fire at the highway resting area. They called the ambulance, they called the fire department, they called the police. But when emergency services arrived, there was no fire to be seen. What happened? So then they rewind the surveillance footage, and it turns out, indeed, the car was on fire. The fire was pretty big. And then a couple of guys came in with fire extinguishers and also a fire hydrant and put out the fire. And those guys were none other than NIO's battery swap technicians. Because you guys probably may not know that NIO has a very good fire defense system. They have their own dedicated fire hydrants at the swap station in case there's a fire, and all these swap technicians are trained to use them. So for the cause of the accident, it turned out the car had old wiring, and over time that car just combined with hot temperatures caught on fire. And what was really amazing was that these NIO technicians, they came in with the fire extinguishers first, but it turned out that wasn't enough to put out the fire. And then they used the hose because they thought first about minimizing damage. So fire extinguishers minimize damage, and then because the fire couldn't be controlled, they went in with the water, which is very, very smart move for them to do. Nice. So these guys helped put out the fire, and it was a very, very heartwarming story. The police were also very thankful of them. And unfortunately, this is the unfortunate part, the story piece on TV did not refer to NIO as NIO. They referred to it as a new energy vehicle company. It would have been better if they just said NIO. But in the clips, you can clearly see the technicians with their NIO clothing, NIO branded clothing. So you know for a fact that that's NIO, but the brand was never mentioned. So that's a little bit regretful. So about NIO's fire suppression system, they have one at every single battery swap station. And because, battery swap stations, you have a lot of batteries, they're all clumped together and they're all high voltage. And just in case, there's a fire, you have your own system to put it out. Now, it does require humans to operate it. So basically a swap technician to connect the hose and spray water, that kind of stuff. And one time, and this was like 2 years ago, I went to a battery swap station and I saw them actually open up a manhole. It was right next to the swap station, and actually inside water was sort of spraying out. And I was asking, well, what's going on here? Are you guys helping fix the pipes or something? And they said, oh, it's the fire suppression system. And it was they were testing if it was still working. So that was just, wow, I did not know that they had a fire suppression system. And as a result, what you've seen is that with all these swap stations, there's only ever been one swap station fire. And that swap station fire was because of a battery with heavy external damage. And NIO told the NIO owner that there's something wrong with the battery, go swap it out for safety reasons. And then that NIO owner swapped it out, essentially saving his car and also maybe even saving his life at the expense of the swap station. And NIO was planning to do something about that battery, but within a couple minutes of it being swapped out, that battery caught on fire because of heavy external damage. So they weren't able to get there on time, and also that swap station was unmanned. So there wasn't anybody to use the fire suppression system. So that's why you see with swap stations, some are manned, some are unmanned. Of course, unmanned reduces a lot of operating costs, but at the same time, you have those drawbacks. For example, if a customer needs help with the battery swap, or if for some reason it gets stuck with a faulty bolt or something, which does happen, but it's very rare. Or most importantly, rampant parking. Some people, they see that box that you're supposed to line up with just before the swap. Some people think that's a parking spot. Some people that don't know anything about swap stations, they think it's a parking spot. They park their car there. And what ends up happening is, of course, you can't swap anymore. Of course, you can't swap. So with a technician, of course, they tell whoever's there, hey, you can't park there. And of course, what NIO has done is during holiday seasons, they've made sure that the swap stations are mostly manned, and especially the highway ones. As you can tell, there's a lot of staff, not only the swap technician, but they also had some service reps over there. And as you can tell, during the holiday seasons, the service reps would hand out drinks and snacks to basically promote the brand and make other people jealous and want to buy NIO. So they were all able to help out and diffuse the situation and put out that fire, which was really, really nice. But going back to manned or unmanned, I mean, like, with a manned swap station, they also do maintenance and stuff like that. It's not just the swap technician doesn't do anything. They actually got jobs to do. And at certain swap stations, what we've seen is that because it sort of disrupts traffic, at some locations, they've made it mandatory to have a technician do the swap. There was this one swap station that I went to quite recently, about a week or so ago. It was a really funny situation. I mean, like, that swap station, I could not enter into that area because what happened was a couple years back, someone did an auto swap, and after when he left, he rammed his NIO into a bunch of buses, and that place was a bus parking area, and the buses got severely damaged, and the bus company was scared. They don't even park there anymore. The stadium, which is where it was located at, the stadium was also pissed off. They said, hey, no more customers doing it. You got to do it yourself. So, then that swap station always has a swap technician doing the battery swaps, even though it could be automated and a person does the swap. This is very, very good publicity. There's also lots of other stories. For example, one of the endangered mountain goats in near Xinjiang apparently got injured on the road. A NIO service rep was able to save one, but the other one was too severely injured in an essentially hit and run situation. And they were able to call the police, and they were able to track the perpetrator down. And this is all like for the good. So there's a lot of good stories like this. And any sort of promotion, whether it's big or small, really, really helps out a lot, especially those that make the news. All right, as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.